It's a bit of a quantum leap tease, with Archer's memory all Swiss cheesed. He's facing mirror images that are not his own, and I'm sensing a strangely familiar tone. Not to sound like a hater, but I feel like this episode should have come later. The good episodes should have come at the start. Instead, most have been just a little wet fart. It's not that I don't think it's good, just so I'm not misunderstood, but it ended with a reset, which is seldom a safe bet. Everyone's looking older, the show is getting bolder, but is this just a good episode placeholder? I'm Justin.
I'm Josh.
And this is From There to Here. All right, everyone. Tonight we're looking at Season 3, Episode 8, Twilight. And according to the IMDb, the description is this. His memory crippled, Archer awakens years in the future after the Xindi have reduced Earth to a burned-out cinder and the remnants of humanity have settled on a distant planet. Blah, blah, blah. There is more, but I think that gets the point across.
That's good enough.
Yeah.
And it's rated what?
Well, what do you think it's rated?
I think it's rated in the mid to low 8s.
It is rated 8.6, and it is the first episode that I've noted. I don't know if this is actually like, it's just the first one I've seen, but it's listed on IMDb as having a top rating.
Right. Okay.
And I know other episodes.
Do you think it's worthy of that label?
Yeah. I mean, it's a good episode, man.
Okay.
I mean, 2 episodes later, we have another IMDb top rated.
Well, of course, it doesn't surpass the next episode, North Star, which we all know is the best episode of Star Trek ever.
Well, yeah. Let's save ourselves for that one.
Okay, so Twilight was directed by Robert Duncan McNeil, and this is his 3rd directing credit, following Cold Front and The Breach. Let's see. After reading the script for Twilight, he explained, "Holy crap, how are we going to do that?" He explained that the episode would see the Enterprise destroyed, but wasn't sure how they were going to film certain sequences, such as the roof being blown off the bridge and the crew being sucked out into space, which they...
Correction, sir. That's blown out.
Did it say? Did I read sucked? Yeah.
You did.
Well, it is blown out, yeah. Well, it would have been nice maybe if we saw maybe some close-ups of the crew as they were blown out into space. What do you think?
If not close-ups, at least some like costume cue that we know who is who, even if we don't get their faces in detail, like Hoshi's long hairdo or something like that.
Okay, I would have liked to have seen their faces.
Well, I would have too. I'm just saying, to be realistic, they weren't going to show that.
Whilst filming the episode, Bakula described it as potentially the best script we've had and the best show to date. I think he was sitting in his makeup room. God damn, it's about time we have a good one.
Probably.
He found it hard to describe, saying it involved time travel into the future, parasites in my hippocampus, and Xindi and subspace implosions. In order to represent the changes in time frames throughout the episodes, several of the cast were required to have their makeup adjusted between scenes. This including added gray makeup to the dog actor who portrayed Archer's dog Porthos, but the scene was cut from the final broadcast. Like, yeah, we're really we've really got it full, we just can't have one more scene with the dog.
We can't have the dog.
It's too much. Costume changes were made to represent promotions granted to the characters over the changes in time periods. These included Bakula, who wore a wig during the later periods shown in the episode. The wig he wore had originally been created for Gary Graham in his role as Ambassador of Saval.
I thought his haircut looked a little Vulcan-like.
It did.
I really did.
Probably a little too much. Maybe they should have given him some other kind of hair.
Yeah, it was obviously...
Don't they have any other toupees lying around? I'm sure one of the actors really wears one. Just like, can I... I mean,
couldn't they have styled it differently or something? Or is a wig kind of conformed to a certain thing?
Well, the Vulcan ones are anyway.
Yeah, I guess so.
Well, for its reception, Twilight proved to be one of the most popular episodes of the series, and with reviewers and with fans. As Enterprise was nearing the end of its first run airings on UPN, the episode was chosen as the number 1 fan favorite in a viewer choice poll at upn.com. How about that? Is it worthy of it? I'm asking you.
Yeah. I mean, this is a solid episode.
But it's kind of, it has no bearing in the arc, in the Zindi arc.
Not really, which is why I felt that it should have come later in the season, which is ironic because the few good episodes they have had, I wish they had come sooner and sort of picked up the pace and really got things going right away, like breakneck speed. But this episode, I feel, is the complete opposite, and it should have been towards the end of the season, or bit of a writer's room here. What if the whole season had started basically with this episode?
Oh, right.
And then they have to go back in time a year to prevent it from happening.
Mm-hmm.
And then you're facing a ticking clock, and we've seen how it ends badly, you know.
But would it still ultimately end in a reset, though?
No, it couldn't. You mean this episode?
Well, if this were right, they have to prevent it, so they are in a way resetting it, don't you think?
Kinda, but
yeah,
but
I mean they're changing the future. They're resetting it, just like all good
like
things,
Janeway did,
or in Endgame.
Well, yeah, kind of. I mean, All Good Things takes you down a path with Picard that ultimately gets reset back to the moment it started. However, I think it's really more akin to what's Voyager's series finale?
Endgame.
It is?
Yeah, that's what I just said.
Oh, when I heard All Good Things, I focused on that. But yeah,
did I say All Good Things?
I honestly,
I think you
don't
did.
know.
Okay.
But I do think it's like Endgame. Yeah, where we caught up with them years and years later, and then see this event that needs to get reset.
Right.
Yeah. So it is more like that.
Yes, and in all the different alternate futures that Star Trek has presented to us, this one is pretty good. By far not the best. No, I think Future Imperfect. And then All Good Things. Those things that really had more, well, it's hard to say. They don't have lasting repercussions because, well, as you pointed out to me, Future Imperfect isn't a reset. But it does explore the character. And so does All Good Things. It explores those characters in the future.
Right.
So there are ramifications for the audience. This one, by this one, I mean Twilight, doesn't really have any character exploration that's lasting or meaningful.
No. I mean, you're right. It's unfortunate that the meat of the episode gets completely erased, which is a real shame.
Erased from existence. You were thinking that, right?
Of course.
Okay.
Maybe the thing, if you're going to do a reset episode, you should, I mean, and I will say that Year of Hell did this.
Oh, that's a good one.
Where it's like everything bad that can happen does happen.
Yeah.
People die, Chakotay dies, all these people die. And then you give us a real reason to need to see this reset. With this one, this is a really good episode. It is. But if you're going to reset it at the end, then when you have the crew of the Enterprise reunite with Archer about, midway point, don't show everyone all happy. I mean, show Hoshi with a wicked scar, have her be bitter and pissed off. Maybe she's got a bald spot because of some acid that burned her skull. They
gave her a mom haircut.
Make the Enterprise look like garbage. It did
look too good.
Yeah, it's been fighting this war for a while.
It should be a hodgepodge of repairs.
Yeah,
and whatnot.
It should
different color parts that don't match.
Yeah, different stuff, man. Like, go out with it and have this be a really unpleasant future, and then even reference they killed my dog. Right. All sorts of stuff has happened, and let us see it. Yeah. Now, that said, do you think episodes like this, even Endgame, is a cheat? Not in the sense that it's a reset, but in the sense that the character, whether it be Janeway or Archer, has decided this future is not up to my standards. I am therefore going to change it. Do you think that's a cheat? Because
A cheat in what way?
in the sense that,
For the writers?
no, for the character, because take Picard, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because All Good Things isn't really a reset exactly. But if Picard,
It doesn't
Well,
reset?
not it does and it doesn't. It was never a for us, the audience, and for him as a character, it was never a real progression of time. He was thrown there, and it was never his time. Whereas Janeway in the future of Endgame, that was Janeway. She experienced all those years. Picard, as we know him, this was a visit to the future, not he lived that life to it, even though he remembered things from it. You know what I mean?
Yes, I follow.
It was kind of different.
Yeah.
So if Picard lived his life and all that and got to a certain point and didn't like things, he wouldn't go back in time travel to change it, because Picard is like a rule follower. He would say, this is what happened, for better or worse. These are the choices we made. We have to accept that. And so is it a cheat when not so much for the writers, but for the characters? Is it a weakness of the character that they're willing to undo time because of their perceived mistake? Just like Janeway decided, I don't like how that turned out, so screw everybody else whose lives are good, but I'm going to change it.
Well, I mean, what about Harry Kim in Timeless?
Yes. I mean, he does do that, and he does it. It's called out, Is it LaForge, Captain LaForge?
LaForge has got it going on.
That says, hey man, I enjoy my life.
Yeah.
What right do you have to change it? Like, I like that's actually thrown out.
Does he actually say that?
Yeah, he does. He said, I've got 16 years of life to protect, pal. You're going down.
Okay, I don't remember him saying that.
Yeah, he says it over the comms.
Okay.
But I like that. I like that it was pointed out, and that what he was doing to everyone else was unfair.
Mm-hmm.
And I enjoyed that. So, even though, yes, humanity's future was definitely bleak and dark and bad and all that stuff, does he have the right to do that? Is that a cheat?
Who are we talking about now?
What's that?
Who's the guy we're talking about
Archer.
now? Oh, does he have that right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Does he have that right?
Well, he was trying to pretend. He did have, I'm trying to save humanity on my side.
Yes.
So,
I'll grant you that.
I mean, yeah, is that okay? I mean,
is that big enough stakes to
yes.
warrant?
Okay.
Probably.
I mean, maybe there's an alien species that will come along and say, hey, we're doing great because you guys aren't around.
Yeah,
but,
yeah.
but,
like the Ferengi are like really cruising. Yeah, maybe.
Yeah, something like that. It's like, yeah, we've made more business deals than we can keep track of.
Yeah, without humanity here, we made friends with that guy on that one planet.
You guys are party poopers.
The Takan Empire?
Yeah, we want you guys gone.
Yeah.
The Takan Empire.
You face fate with composure.
Yeah. What is the answer to my challenge? Maybe Riker was just frozen in fear in that moment.
Oh shit.
Oh, I meant to do that.
As he saw it going, he goes, yeah, anywhere I go, left or right, I'm screwed. So
I can't move.
I'm going to try to look dignified as I die.
We should make a YouTube video out of that moment and make it like a 30
What was he
second.
really thinking?
What is he really thinking?
Oh shit.
Oh, I'm in trouble. Don't move.
Maybe he'll
what does
stop.
he want?
Don't make him mad.
So yeah, I guess in this case it does work. Even though it is a reset, because the stakes are so high, it can be excused. But I think my argument with you initially one of the arguments was that Archer as the main character wouldn't work. Well, it doesn't work for me, right? But you said no, it has to be him because he's ultimately responsible.
Yes.
Right.
Yes. I forget who you proposed might have been a good placeholder for Archer, but at the end of the day,
I think I said Trip or
yeah.
But you're right. It is his mission.
Yeah. So he's even though it's everybody's Earth, he was the one, but specifically that holds the responsibility of saving the planet, and he failed.
He did.
I mean,
he did.
He didn't really fail. I mean, he got taken out. You know what I mean?
It's true.
But he still sees that as a failure.
And a very undramatic way. I thought that scene could have been a bit more dramatic. It's just a bubble of not squiggly lines. What is it? It warps the ship, and he gets hit by it, and something falls onto Paul's leg. Okay, a little weak sauce, I would say.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think in addition to maybe having his mind wiped or mementoed, that
no, was it? It was 51st dated.
Yeah.
He wakes up every day.
Yeah.
And he has to watch the tape that T'Pol made for him.
Yeah, he got
while you were
dated.
sleeping, Earth was blown up. What? Yeah. And it was all your fault. Oh my God.
Do you think most days she just wakes up and he goes, what just happened? Oh, well, there was this accident. You've lost your memory. Things are great. You and I were here on this planet.
That's exactly what they were doing to her in 51st Dates.
and not only that, we're together and we do it every day. He'll be like, we do it every day. Yes, we do. And then someday she's like, we don't do it a lot ever because she's not in the mood that day.
Right.
And she could change it up.
It would keep him happy for a day.
Yeah.
Yeah. In 51st Dates, every day was her birthday.
Right.
Oh, no, it was her dad's birthday. Sorry.
Oh, is that it?
She gave him the Sixth Sense and they'd have to watch it over and over again.
Okay.
she was always surprised about the twist. And they were like, oh, okay, one more time.
Yeah, it was. Really? Oh.
I didn't see it coming. Who would have thought?
The whole time? Yeah.
No, I was thinking the same thing. I was like, yeah, all she would have to do is tell him like, oh, we're married, we're deeply in love, and every morning we wake up like Schwarzenegger and in Total Recall, and he gets to
right.
It's like, that's us. We get to do it every morning.
Sure.
It's great.
Yeah.
And then we go watch the news on our wall.
I mean, that could be a conscious choice she makes. She made the choice that morning to wake up and not wear a space bra. That's fine.
Sure.
That's her choice.
It's like, oh, this isn't SETI Alpha 5. This is actually Earth.
Yeah. That was something that I noticed throughout this episode. There was a ton of little Star Trek Easter eggs that they're on SETI Alpha 5.
Mutara Nebula.
They referenced the Mutara Nebula. There are other ones, which I'm forgetting now. But obviously a Star Trek fan wrote this or was in the writer's room and added these little nuggets.
Yeah, I'm not a really big fan of little Easter eggs like that.
I don't mind something like this because it's thrown out in dialogue.
It takes me out of the moment.
Did it take you out of the moment when you were watching this?
Yes.
Okay, well,
because all I think of is, oh, ha ha ha,
SETI Alpha 5.
SETI Alpha 5.
Yeah.
I get it. Just name it anything.
Right.
Any planet. Treta Beta 3. Right. Whatever. I don't care. Just don't do that.
No, I get it. It didn't take me out, but I mean, I did notice it in the moment. So I mean, in a way, I guess it did take me out because I wasn't 100%.
What'd you think about the different depictions of the crew?
Really liked Malcolm.
Oh, right. Where you liked Malcolm and his goatee.
Malcolm was my favorite.
His goatee. And the lighting on him made him look gaunt. Or maybe he just looks that way in real life. And
the goatee really makes it pop.
Well, I think, yeah. His face does have kind of a sunken look anyway.
Yeah.
So I think the goatee brings that out more.
But that dude had bags under his eyes. Yeah. Like I noticed in a specific
like
close-up.
He was method acting and staying up all day.
I kind of wonder. Because it's
possible.
He looked awesome. He looked changed.
It was him that we wanted to have a big scar.
Yeah. And Hoshi.
Yeah, like didn't Sulu have a scar?
In Mirror?
Yeah.
Of
course
he
looked badass.
Yeah, he looked awesome. And Spock rocked the goatee.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
But I thought Trip was a little grayer and he was angrier.
Yeah.
And it suited him.
He was bitter.
But I liked it. I really liked it. Hoshi seemed largely unaffected. She just had a soccer mom haircut.
Yeah, I kind of like that line he had with T'Pol where he said he confronts her early in the episode. This is after Archer has lost his memory. Uh-huh. And he says, something along the lines of, this doesn't feel right. Ever since you've taken over, it's just been one bad thing after another happening. I kind of like maybe he along with it was kind of like a meta moment where he it's like, yeah, we're on the wrong path here. You remember that movie Jeff Who Lives at Home?
Of course.
Where he this is an older movie now.
I know it well.
But he was following like his brother. He was helping his brother with something, and his brother was going down. Like Jeff was waiting for like signs from the world to follow. And his brother was looking like through a dumpster or something. And then Jeff is like, I think we're on the wrong path. Something's not right.
Yeah, he felt it.
And he felt it like there was something wrong. Like we're in the wrong timeline. We're supposed to be doing something else.
Right.
And I was like, that felt that was the feeling that maybe they had in that moment. Maybe I'm looking too much into it, but
no, I don't think so. I think they all knew that, with Archer, they had a glimmer of hope, but with T'Pol, as much as they like her and trusted her, it wasn't happening.
Mm-hmm. I mean, it's one wrong thing, right? Like one rock thrown into the water, it ripples and changes everything. Like in Back to the Future Part 2.
Right.
Biff gets the sports almanac, and the future is screwed over.
Yeah. You take Archer out of that, and the whole thing didn't happen.
Yeah. I mean, just like, well, I mean, in this case, it did have a big ramification for humanity. But like in Tapestry, for example, when we see another alternate future,
right,
where
alternate past, really, well, and both,
present, alternate
present.
present. But Q told him, he's like, to be blunt, you're not that important. Humanity's going to be fine.
Yeah.
But those little things you see do change. And then Q told him at the end, like, oh, well, such and such because you weren't there. But it affects your life and the people around you. But overall, no, I mean, the galaxy's not going to end or anything.
In
like
other
that.
words, you're just not
that important.
Yeah, Riker's still on the ship. Captain Thomas Holloway.
Well, we don't know if Riker was there. We never saw him.
What are you talking about?
We didn't see Riker.
Do you remember the episode?
Tapestry?
Yes.
Riker wasn't in the alternate present.
Yes, he was. He literally sits down and has
I'm sorry. You're right. Right.
Everyone is there.
Yeah. Just not one that stands out.
Yeah.
No.
The original idea for that was that instead of Thomas Holloway, it was supposed to be Edward Jellicoe.
Is that really true, or are we just hoping it was that?
No. I think I read that.
Did we really? Or is this a false memory?
I don't know.
I think we wanted it to be Jellicoe.
Maybe that's what
like
it is.
We had said to ourselves, wouldn't it be cool if it were Jellicoe?
That would have been cool.
Yeah, I don't think anybody actually said that.
Well,
maybe somebody thought that.
Now I can't. Now I don't know if that's a real or
well, somebody listening, correct us if we're wrong.
Yeah. Speaking of listeners, did we have any comments from any listeners?
Yeah,
on this episode.
I mean, we have our notes from Sebastian, of course.
Okay,
I can look that up.
But yeah, man, as a whole, I enjoyed the episode. It's unfortunate that it does reset because none of it mattered, but it was a good episode. I mean, I was never bored. The stakes were high.
Well, I mean, I was never bored either.
It's a darn fine episode.
But I felt like there was so much more they could have done with it.
Well, sure.
Like, I felt like the writers of Future Imperfect had fun with the idea.
True.
I don't feel like they had as much fun with this, as much fun as they could have.
Fun, like
really explore
killing people off.
Just really explore this alternate.
Yeah.
This alternate. Well, like you said, they killed off Mayweather.
Yeah, with
and
no fanfare.
no
one
fanfare.
even noticed.
He just dies, and I had forgotten.
Yeah,
I didn't even notice he died. I was like, well, that's not fair.
Yeah,
that poor guy.
Yeah.
Why can't he be alive in the future? Was the actor busy that week? Well, Sebastian writes, 1. So let's summarize how the distinctive personalities of our main characters have changed over the eventful years. Reed has a beard. Hoshi has a wig, a mom wig. Trip is still petulant. And T'Pol's relationship to Archer has, quote, developed. But it's hard to tell how exactly. Irony aside, isn't this the ultimate proof that the characters are primarily empty shells?
In what way?
What way? Really? Empty shells?
I would love to have some expansion on that. Empty shells in what way? Because now we can only kind of guess what he meant by that. Empty shells in the sense that they're basically kind of the same character, no matter who's in charge of the ship.
I think empty shells meaning they're just kind of caricatures. They're not deeply explored, which he's not wrong about. I mean, sometimes they do get moments where they get to shine. I mean, in this season in particular, Trip and DePaul get those moments. Does Archer as much?
In this episode?
I mean, like overall.
Not-
I mean, DePaul. I mean, not DePaul. He just referenced Trip being petulant. He's grown. He's not as petulant anymore.
No, Trip has grown.
His petulance kind of came back though a little bit.
Yeah, but at least here it was warranted. But no, Trip does have growth, and you do see that. Obviously, T'Pol, her character grows throughout the series, accepts the influence of humanity on her. Archer,
Hoshi learns to be more confident.
yeah, and bang the random dude on a pleasure planet
For 2 days and 2 nights.
Yeah, but Archer, I would say Archer's growth is kind of, he has it, but then he goes back, which is not a bad thing. It's hard to, so he starts off green in a sense. Yes, he's been a commander, sort of, but he's a new guy to this whole space thing and all that, and he has to learn to toughen up. And this season really sees that, where he I don't know if he's already made the comment or if he makes it later, but he ends up making the comment, I wish we had not left Space Dock without more weapons.
Right.
We had no idea how many dangers we were going to face out here. And so he kind of gets angrier as it goes on, but then in season 4, he sort of takes that. It's still a part of him, but then he sort of rediscovers, hit the youthful Archer, and kind of is a blend between the two of them.
Mm-hmm.
So he does have growth. Honestly, I would say that the person that shows the most growth throughout the series is probably T'Pol.
I would agree.
And Trip, probably.
Mm-hmm.
Trip matures in a way. Mayweather is exactly the same. He literally never changes.
No.
Hoshi, yes, just gets a little bit more confident, but Malcolm is pretty much Malcolm the whole way. You just learn more about him, but he's still the same dude.
Yeah, that's probably right about that.
Yeah. I wonder if that would have been different though, had the show gone on for a couple more years.
If they would have developed more,
like how they would have developed. I mean, if we
point.
look at TNG, by season 4, Riker had pretty much become the Riker that he would stay, but it took him a little bit to get there.
Mm-hmm.
They kind of fine-tuned Riker. Picard does have a change. He comes to see the crew as more of a family, and he softens, not a whole lot, but he does soften. You know, Worf does have growth.
Mm-hmm.
Geordi, no,
not really.
Geordi doesn't really
still
change.
bad with women at the end.
He's still bad with women. He's Geordi.
Yeah.
Who else? Beverly's probably pretty much the same.
Mm-hmm. Probably.
Troy.
Well, she has some.
She gains more
technical wisdom.
Yeah, but it's not just the wisdom. It's the ability to apply it.
Right.
She has some, I don't want to say command growth, because I hate the idea of her being in command of anything. That's absolutely ridiculous.
Sure.
But for lack of a better explanation, she does have some growth in that sense. She that's what leadership. She develops more leadership skills in tandem with her psychic counselor skills. And
that's a good point.
Even Wesley has growth. He matures. He learns to be a team member instead of a kind of I'll do it all by myself. He develops as people do. So there's a fair amount of growth in that show. But this one, 4 seasons in, I would say T'Pol and Trip are really the ones that show it.
Show it deeply, I would say, but there's some shades.
With any real significance.
Sure.
Yeah.
Okay. Number 2, if humanity has been reduced to 6,000 individuals, then I'm interested in the colony, the culture, how the community has developed. Even DS9 managed to convey a feeling of a post-war Bajor with simple settings and a few actors. So what's happening here? Are we seeing deliberate creative decisions that I don't understand? Or is it all just a huge accident? I don't follow.
Yeah, I don't either.
Let me read that question again. Okay, so if humanity has been reduced to 6,000 individuals, okay, that's on SETI Alpha 5,
Right.
then I'm interested in the colony, the culture, how the community has developed. Okay. Even DS9 managed to convey a feeling of a post-war Bejor with simple settings and a few actors. Okay, I mean, yes. So let's keep going. So what's happening here? Are we seeing deliberate creative decisions that I don't understand, or is it all just a huge accident? I think they just, Bejor was explored over in different episodes.
Yeah,
this is one episode, and we only had to show one house.
Yeah.
And that's all we needed to know.
I mean, they'd show the colony from a distance, but
yeah.
I get this. Granted, I'm applying my sci-fi sense to it.
Yeah.
I get the sense that it's kind of like Battlestar Galactica. They refer to they show the fleet of ships with Enterprise holding the survivors, just like the ragtag fleet, from Battlestar.
Yeah.
Only now they also have a colony, which tactically seems like a really bad idea. Like, why would you
have all their eggs in one basket?
Especially in the Alpha Quadrant. Like, if you're going to plant roots, you've got to go somewhere else, like a different quadrant, like you just got to go till the fuel runs out. But I would have liked to have seen what the 6,000 people strong colony of Earth was like, but that's a different show.
Yeah.
That's a whole different thing. And basically it's Battlestar Galactica. It's been done before.
That's true.
Yeah. Now get your fat ass out of my office.
That's a BSG reference.
Yes,
New BSG. Rating, he gave it a D.
Wow.
Yeah. None of the things that would have interested me about the story were shown. He wanted to know more about the colony, evidently.
Right.
I think that should be the focus of the episode. Like you just said, though, that's an entirely different episode.
Yeah.
I mean, we're exploring how to save humanity from the Xindi weapon with the remnants of the crew, which, I mean, how would you do that? I mean, could you still do that and be on the colony? I mean,
it would have completely derailed the episode.
Well, you could have had an episode that is about humanity trying.
It could have been a two-parter, and maybe got into it.
Maybe.
But then all it would have been was the little sort of bickerings and internal politics because honestly, it's been done. Battlestar Galactica did original and the new one.
I think this is a Joe Dirt moment, where Sebastian is seeing it in the way that we're not expecting. Like,
right.
Do you remember when Joe Dirt is talking to Kick and Wing? He's telling Kick and Wing about the story of the UFO that lands in the desert and the snail sees it.
Right.
But Kick and Wing is focusing on the wrong part. He says, "Wait, there's a snail in the desert?" And he says, yeah. A spaceship dropped off. Don't focus on the wrong part of the story. So see, he's just focused on the snail and not the other part, which is what Joe Dirt's trying to talk about. So anyway,
I totally agree with Sebastian that that's an absolutely interesting what is going on outside of their little cabin.
Yeah.
But it's also a different episode entirely.
I think so.
Yeah.
I mean, you could have had just, I think it would have had to have been a two-parter where you explore the dynamics of this small survival culture, and then they go and they try to stop it. They go try to fix humanity, fix its past. I think maybe then. Maybe the crew lives there, maybe the ship has been decommissioned, it's been taken apart for scrap or something like that. Maybe they have to build a new ship.
I think they ultimately made the right choice, though.
Well, maybe that could have been interesting, seeing like they build like this hodgepodge ship, like they can barely get the job done, like in Flight of the Phoenix, they barely will work,
Yeah.
Something like that. That could have been interesting.
Potentially, yes.
Mm-hmm.
It would have been a multi-part episode, which all would have been wiped out, which would have meant all of that was then wasted,
Yeah.
I think the only way an episode like this really has staying power is if it is the catalyst for the Xindi arc. If it starts with this, and maybe we have an episode or two living in it where Archer just goes, "This is okay. This is not okay.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to fix this." And then they go back.
Well, if anything, I think, because of that reset, it does ultimately make what happens pointless. But I think that there is a lot they could have explored. If you want to talk about writers' room ideas,
Well,
they could have opened up this episode even more than just 2 parts. Make it longer.
sure.
And let's talk about how they got off that colony. Let's talk about how Earth was destroyed.
Mhm.
What events led to it? Opening that up. I mean, you're talking about a whole season's worth of stuff, probably though. At that point,
Right.
wouldn't you like to know how in TNG parallels, like how did alternate reality Riker with a beard?
Yeah.
How did they get to that point? Like,
Yeah.
how badly did things go?
Where he was willing to kill other enterprises
Yeah.
to save himself.
Why
Yeah.
did they lose razors? Like, what happened? Like how bad must things have
There's
gotten?
no time for shaving, man. The
Yeah,
Borg
exactly,
are
but
everywhere.
It's like, wow, yeah, he turned into caveman Riker at
Yeah.
that point. It's like I like to see.
No, I won't go back.
I like to see that reality.
Yeah,
like
yeah.
that then get to that point. That would be interesting. But we're not going to get that.
No.
Maybe they'll make a cartoon series.
Someone
out of
probably
that.
did a book or a comic book on it.
Maybe. Well, I'm surprised at his rating, a D.
So am I.
He seems to. So he gave a really bad grade to
Yeah.
a fan favorite there.
Yeah.
But even we acknowledge like its merits here. It's good stuff.
It is good stuff. The only weakness of the episode is that it's reset, which
Right.
is not a small thing, but I don't think worthy of downgrading it.
Mm-hmm.
So, okay. I guess that there's no more listener comments.
No, I don't think so. Which it's been a while since I've said this on our podcast, but we still would like to hear from people. So
Please.
write us an email, podcast@nx01@gmail.com.
Mm-hmm.
You can send your trivia. You can send your comments about an episode or a past episode we've done, about future episodes coming up, like Sebastian here tends to do. He'll give us a review long before we get to the episode. You can share your thoughts too, anything. If you'd like to have us read your comments, or if you'd like to tell us how you found the show, something like that. We'd love to hear.
Absolutely.
So, as we brought up at the beginning, North Star
Is next.
is next. And I wonder if Sebastian's going to give that one an A. The reverse. Wouldn't that be funny?
Trying to think. So, TOS had a Western, Spectre of the Gun.
Spectre of the Gun.
Uh,
Fistful of Datas.
Fistful of Datas.
TNG.
Now this. Deep Space Nine did not have a Western episode.
No.
No, instead of Westerns, they went with the casinos,
Yeah.
Although, man, could you imagine Avery Brooks riding up with a horse?
He's
and
a black
hat?
sheriff.
Whoa. Blazing Saddles.
uh,
That would have been kind of badass.
yeah. Voyager didn't have anything like that. They had
No.
World War II.
Yeah.
That was a weird one.
Yeah, it was. But it seems like a shtick that
Mm-hmm.
writers just want to do. They want to put those characters in a Western, even if it's the most logicless thing they could possibly do.
Maybe Voyager would have benefited from having a Western. Now that I think about it.
That would have been fun.
Sure.
Who would have been the sheriff in a Voyager
Well, it's
Western?
Odo.
Voyager.
Oh, Voyager. Sorry. It's Tuvok, right? Has to be. He's a security guy.
Yeah, but he's so boring as a sheriff.
But he's Tuvok. Yeah,
I guess so. So someone's got to be like the hired
Neelix is
gun.
a saloon guy, right?
Yeah. Who's the hired gun? Tom Paris?
Well, none of the main cast can be the hired gun,
No. I mean, it's just a Western. It's obviously not real.
but they don't know they're a part of the town.
Yeah, I guess.
That doesn't make sense.
What would 7 of 9 be?
The town whore. she's got a heart of gold.
Of course she does.
All right, see you next week, man.
Oh, wait. We didn't give it ratings.
Oh my God, I forgot. I was just too eager
Yeah.
to move on to North Star. I give it an A.
Yeah.
Solid A, not an A minus, not an A plus, but a solid A.
Yeah.
It's very entertaining. The only negative thing is that it just, like we've been saying, it gets reset.
Yeah. I agree.
Okay. North Star. Dun, 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 da, 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 da. No?
No.
Fine.